I'm deep in the heart of Texas, in Dallas, Texas.
That's my home city. So I love.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I grew up in Allen.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, and now here you are in these big movies, and we love seeing it. And you got to be excited about this one though, because this one, it's such a crazy movie. You get a script like this, you must just be thinking, I got to do this one, right?
Yeah, exactly. I read the script. Not a lot of movies on an independent level get made like this with this much action and high stakes. And I was just so fortunate to be part of this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, as you know, most movies are not that fun to make. Once you finally get on set, it's like old. But this one actually looked like, but they can be. And this one looked like it was actually fun to work on. You have some good memories from it?
Oh yeah, it was a complete family environment. We were in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, and it was awesome. The what you get from the film was genuine and true between us.
Yeah. And how about Andy McDowell? Like, she's so sweet in real life, but to see her like that was like, wow, look at that.
Yeah, I did a movie with her many years ago called Only the Brave, and I met her
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
And then it's completely different experience seeing her on this set. I didn't have any scenes with her, but she is phenomenal, and I can't wait for people to see what she did.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you've been doing this. Of course, you made it right out of here, out of Allen, Texas, and then in some monstrously big movies, and people looked up to that screen for years and just thought that's what I want to do. And so, what kind of advice do you give to people that are looking at you and want to follow in your footsteps?
I think that, that's a good question. My advice would be don't let anybody tell you you can't accomplish what you want. I was in Texas and people used to say, there's no way you can go be an actor. And I just always knew that was a lie. Just because other people can't do it doesn't mean that, I can't try. And I just started to act. My first job was a murder mystery dinner theater called Keith and Margot's Murder Mystery on a lake down there off Dallas. And I would drive every Friday and Saturday night, and I would give everything to this murder mystery dinner theater to the point I was like, because I wanted to be Al Pacino and Marlon Brando and these actors. I was living in character. So there's this long road up to this restaurant where they did the murder mystery, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go out there early, so everybody that goes to this murder mystery sees a homeless guy asking for money, and then I'm gonna show up in the event because So I was like, I had so much fun. So just falling in love with movies, following your heart, and then having good role models, I think will get you there. Like that's why I looked up to Kobe Bryant, because it's that Mamba mentality. You got to give your best to everything. If you say this is what I do, then you better know how to do that job, in my opinion. And
Mhm.
if you have that mentality and you have the passion and you have the faith, anything can happen.
Yeah, love that. Well, that's actually my co-host Drew Pearson, caught the Hail Mary, of course, one of our great Dallas Cowboys, went in the Hall of Fame. That's what we call a Hail Mary moment. That moment in your life or career, you're just like, I'm gonna go for it.
Did you just say your partner is Drew Pearson?
That's correct.
I'm a huge Drew Pearson fan. So you tell him thank you for all the amazing highlights and memories. And man, tell him to suit back up. We need him back on the field right now.
We sure do. Oh man, yeah, well, I've been working with him for 12 years now, and he's amazing. And so we do have to ask you, what is your Hail Mary moment? That's just that moment where you're just like, all right, I'm gonna go for it.
In terms of actor prep, or
Yeah, or just in life.
I think that my Hail Mary moment was a lot every step of the way. I built my own theater in Hollywood, and when I was very young, and I still have it, had it for like 16, 17 years now. That was a Hail Mary moment that worked out because that is what got me going. Um, Child of God was a big Hail Mary moment where I went all in on that role and it paid off, and people really seemed to respond to that. And then in terms of prep, I've done a lot of crazy things. I quit eating for 4.5 months for Guillermo del Toro to lose weight for a movie called Antlers. And that's a pretty big commitment to quit eating. I lost 82 pounds for that role. And that was a Hail Mary because you never know, like, I knew I was Guillermo's monster, so I couldn't get cut out of the film. But when you invest that much of your own life into a project, it is a Hail Mary because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and part of that is that mindset that you have to have to not only get in what you do, but stay in what you do, and especially in something like this where you're just a much different character. So, is there something you tell yourself, or kind of, that kind of keeps you on the right path even when things are tough?
Yeah, just staying grateful. Grateful is
Yeah.
what fuels fire. Is like every day we're lucky. It's I look at the news and I can't believe I get to even talk about these things. You know, like this, we're living in such a hard time that I'm really grateful that, you know, if we can entertain people and maybe, you know, the movies I make, I try to make a difference in the world. Like Mully, this film I directed, it's a documentary. You know, I'm just grateful.
Yeah.
Grateful that leads to passion.
I love that. Is there a particular day or scene or time on this set that you think you'll always remember? Like, ah, that was a good day.
Yeah, it was one of the weekends. There's this park there. I forget the name of the park, but it was created by the same person who created Central Park. And we
Mhm.
had these Lime scooters, and it was just like I got to. It's like a magical park. If you ever go to, you can't say Louisville, you got to say Louisville. And if you go
Roll.
there, you know, and also the Kentucky Derby rolled into town while we were filming, and that was a whole different subsector of culture that just all merged together. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what is it about this particular role or this film that really connected with you that you think will connect with audiences?
You know, what's going on in the country right now is horrendous with the death of fentanyl, and it's the number one killer of under 35, I think, in the country. So this film tackles that. We go right at it, and my character is obviously in the middle of a downward spiral of addiction,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, it's relatable. We all, you know somebody who struggles in certain ways. And then we all dream about being a Rambo or a hero or you know, and then you get to see this amazing action journey take place with all these twists and turns and with what Orlando's doing, Andy's doing. You know, it's really a special film that I think on an independent level isn't made in today's market as much.
Yeah. Well, last thing, we always love getting to see you on the screen, big screen, small screen, however we can get it. What are we going to see you in next?
Horizon. I'm doing these movies with Kevin Costner, who was one of my heroes, and he asked me to be part of this four-part film series called Horizon. That is his passion project of his whole life, and I feel, going back to gratitude, very grateful that I get to work with one of my guys I looked up to when I first started.
Yeah, and what a cool guy too, right?
Best. He's the utmost best. I love him.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, we can't wait for that. We're so happy for you for this one. Congratulations on everything, and hey, hopefully we'll see you back.
Obviously, it started with the script, and we really responded to that, and it resonated with us in many ways because we are sort of from a rural setting in California. Our parents, do rodeo, have horse ranch, things like that. So the farm life is something that we can definitely relate to in a lot of ways. And then Jonathan Easley's writing in the script was very, very powerful. The dialogue was tremendous. The characters leapt off the page, and from it was an absolute page turner. I mean, we were ripping through it, and by the end, we were like, man, we got to make this.
Yeah. And that's got to be cool. Just something where you're just like, okay, this we have to do, right? And when something just becomes that apparent, right?
Yeah, and it also helped that we had met Orlando Bloom after our last film, or our previous film,
Mhm.
Small Town Crime, and we really hit it off. We had breakfast with them. We really enjoyed the guy's company. We really enjoyed just chatting with them, and we instantly saw him in the role as Cash, and we're like, wow, wouldn't it be amazing if we could get Orlando to do this? It would be a new gear we hadn't seen him do, and that excited us.
Yeah, and he's so good, and it is something that he hadn't seen before, and that's got to be what was probably pretty interesting to him, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when we sat down with him, he was pumped about it. Immediately started working on his dialect, which he took months, I think 2 or 3 months to perfect. And then, yeah, man, growing out the hair, growing out the facial hair, uh, working with Brittany, the costume designer, she did such a great job of bringing him options, but he picked these clothings and boots that really, really gave us just the way Cash moved was a lot different than the way
Hmm.
Orlando moves.
Yeah, and also the
Yeah.
physicality that he built through his body and the transformation he did there. I mean, just really, really impressive work all the way around for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, I love it. Was there a particular day or scene or time that just kind of stood out to you? We were just kind of looking around, going, "All right, this is how I pictured it. This is going to be really special."
I think a lot of the scenes between Andy, they're a little more intimate, for the most part. But it was the ones between Andy and Orlando really crackled, and that was really what needed to happen, right? You really needed at the core of it, you needed to feel their past relationship. You needed to feel the tension between the two of them, the damaged goods that had happened between the two of them, and his, you know, she's trying to reel him in and he doesn't want to be reeled in, but he can't really show that in front of her. He needs to kind of be, he needs to acquiesce a little bit, give a little bit, but realize that he's ultimately doesn't want to be in there with her.
Yeah,
So,
just seeing Orlando interact with Scott and Chapel and the family environment, it felt natural, it felt organic, it felt real for us. They're all tremendous actors, and seeing that chemistry of the family come to life was really exciting for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And that great was Andy. Like I didn't see that coming from her.
yeah, we had her in mind, but she was probably not our like first not our first pick in our
Mhm.
minds because we didn't think she'd even want to do something like that. We're big fans of her work, but as far as seeing her as a vicious, terrible person,
Queen pin, yeah.
it just wasn't something
Yeah.
that we thought she would even want to attempt to do. But luckily, her agent passed her the script. She really enjoyed it and then hit us up and said, "Hey, this is something I really want to do. Like, I could do this. And just ask my kids. I've got this in me." So she
Yeah.
brought on the Zoom call, she brought a little bit of that big cat flavor for us. And we could instantly see that we thought she was going to tear it up. And boy, did she ever, man.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, and you guys have been making great stories, been able to tell them for years and years, and we noticed in South by Southwest too. And so, it's always been something like, "Oh, I wonder what they're going to do next." But people look up at the screen, they think that's what I want to do. And so, what kind of advice would each of you give to somebody that wants to follow in your footsteps and tell these really cool stories?
I would say the number one thing that we did was we just kept making things,
Mm,
we kept writing things and making things. And I think that's one of the things when you're coming up and when you're just starting, it gets frustrating and you're not quite sure if should you keep going? Should you keep making things? Is it worth doing? And the answer for us is absolutely yes, because, and just try to take a little step forward every time, a little bit bigger, a
mm,
little bit more, a little bit, and try to improve your game every time. Try to the dialogue's a little crisper, the themes are a little more presented. I just keep making things because you're just going to keep getting better, and finally it's going to pop.
We definitely had some humble beginnings. I mean, the first couple films we made were for thousands of dollars, $1,500, $5,000. So we definitely started at the basement and worked our way up to getting to do films of this caliber now. But I would say, look, be bold, lean into yourself, and kill ego.
mhm. Yeah, well said. My co-host Drew Pearson, one of our great Dallas Cowboys, went in the Hall of Fame, caught the original Hail Mary. So proud of him. He wanted me to make sure I asked you guys your Hail Mary moment, which is that moment in your life or career where you just had to go for it and it worked out for you. What do you suppose that was for you?
It's probably the first time that we put a movie together with other people's money.
Yeah.
Because it's really nerve wracking to go out there knowing, and especially with the first one, it was a lot of friends and family, right? It wasn't people who were film business savvy. It was a bunch of people entrusting us to go out there and make a movie that they could be proud of. Yeah, and in our case, represent the people and the place that we're from. So that was a little stressful, but also we were quite honored to go do it, and that they invested in us.
Yeah.
Emotionally and financially to go make this thing.
Yeah. And is there something that you both keep in mind when things are tough, maybe that keeps you on the right path?
Look, I'm just blessed to have a collaborator in my brother here. He definitely can, we're the yin to the yang. So when one of us is feeling down, the other one's picking the other one up. If I need a kick in the fanny, he'll give me that too. Yeah, it's a good collaboration, and we've become, dysfunctionally codependent over the years.
Yeah, that's one great thing about working with a collaborator, or in this case, my brother, who's the ultimate collaborator, right? I mean, we know each other really well, and we don't work in a box. You don't work in a vacuum. You have someone to bounce things off of, work on things with, and like you said, like we do a pretty good job of lifting the other up when there's always down times, right? Whether it's related to what you're doing or it's something else that's horning in on what you're doing. We do a pretty good job of keeping each other on track.
But it's been, honestly, it's
Yeah.
a true blessing. I wake up every day and I'm so grateful for what I get to do. I work with my brother, and it really is a true blessing.
I agree.
Yeah, love that. The thing is that this is supposed to be for entertainment value, and it's great entertainment value, but there's kind of a lot being said here too. What are you hoping that people will talk about after seeing this?
Look, there's a bunch working there, right? We've got obviously some opioid crisis here in the states. There's that theme. There's obviously the theme of redemption. you know, and Cash trying to rehabilitate himself from his life of crime. So there's those themes going.
There's
through
all
there.
the family themes that are happening,
Mhm.
which really are what initially drew us to the project, you know. So yeah, there's a lot going on in the film. So I would probably focus on those three because
Yeah.
and it being entertaining, right? I mean, that's the other thing, right? Take something that's meaningful and make it entertaining. So
And Ian and I
Yeah.
look when we come out of a movie, we like to feel inspired and uplifted in a way. You know, there's a lot of macabre
Mhm.
stuff out right
Yeah.
now, a lot of bleak films, which when you're in that mood, amazing, right? But
Mhm.
you're not always in that mood. So if you're looking for something with a little more action and a little more, leave the theater on a more.
and not to say we don't go to some dark places in this film,
Yeah.
but I do feel at the end of the movie, you know, there's hope and redemption and a
Yeah.
path, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, last thing, I can't wait to see what you guys got next for us. I'm sure you're already hard at work on the next thing, right?
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
in the shed there working away constantly, and
Good.
hope to delve into some new genres. Yeah, we're excited on what's coming up in the future here.
I'm excited for you guys. Well, thank you both so much for your time today. We look forward to talking to both of you again soon. We're going to tell everyone to check this out.
Thank
Paul,
you so
appreciate
much,
you,
Paul.
man.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks so much. All right. Bye bye.
Much
Thanks,
love,
man.
brother.